So you're thinking about moving from New York to Connecticut. And look, I already know exactly what's happening right now. You've been Googling Connecticut towns, you've watched a few videos, and every single one of them is pointing you straight to Fairfield County. And you're sitting there thinking, okay, that's Connecticut. That's where New Yorkers go. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I think this conversation should go, which towns I actually point my clients towards, depending on their situation. And there is one number at the end of this video that makes almost every other New York buyer stop mid-sentence and ask me to say it again. Let's start from the beginning. Look, I get it. Fairfield County makes sense on paper. You're coming from New York, you want to stay close to the city, you know the names, Greenwich, Westport, Wilton, Darien, New Canaan. These are the towns you've heard your whole life. They have the train, they have the restaurants, they have the reputation, they have the whole established identity of being where New York money goes when it leaves New York. And yes, if budget is not a constraint and you specifically want Fairfield County experience, it 100% delivers. I'm not here to talk you out of it if it's a good fit. But here's the reality I see playing out every single week on Zoom calls with buyers from the city. They come in thinking Fairfield County is the move, and then I ask two questions. What is your actual budget, and how often are you realistically getting on the train? Those two questions change everything, every time. The median sales price in Fairfield County in 2025 was $661,500. That's the median. Half of everything sold went for more than that. And then when I look at specific towns buyers come in and asking about, like Westport, the median was over $2 million. Greenwich was almost $2 million. Darien was $2.325 million. So when you have a buyer with a $400,000 to $600,000 budget coming from New York, which is exactly the profile I see most consistently, Fairfield County Gold Coast isn't a realistic conversation. It's a fantasy conversation. I'd rather give you the real picture right now than have you spend 3 months chasing something that doesn't line up with your actual number. So here's how I actually approach it. I ask a few questions, I listen to the answers, and based on what I hear, I will point you in one of three directions. Let me take you through all three of those because it might be your situation. Direction one, you still need to commute into the city on a regular basis. Okay, if you're getting on a train 2, 3, 4 days a week and proximity to transit access is non-negotiable, I'm not taking Fairfield County off the table in this situation, but I'm not sending you to Greenwich either. I'm pointing you to the towns within your budget that still give you Metro North and I-95 access. And they're absolutely out there. They exist. Stratford came in at $450,000 median in 2025. It's on Metro North. It's on 95. It has meaningfully more affordable homes than the Gold Coast towns. Everyone defaults to talking about those other towns. Bridgeport's even lower, $330,000 median price. But I want to be honest, Bridgeport comes with real trade-offs, and I'd want to walk you through those personally before you made any decisions. Not every part of the city is the same picture. Now here's where the math really starts working in your favor. You cross the county line from Fairfield to New Haven, and everything changes. Milford's right on the water. It has a Metro North station. It had 602 closed sales last year. And the median home price was $490,000. 27 days on market. That is a deep, active, liquid market. Homes are moving. And the mill rate in Milford for 2026 is 29.55. Compare that to Stratford sitting at 40.2. You will immediately understand why the county line matters when the geography barely changes. The same train, the same commute corridor, meaningfully different tax bills every single year. Milford gives you the beach. It gives you a walkable downtown. It gives you a train station, proximity to New Haven, and a price point that genuinely works for the $400,000 to $600,000 buyer coming from New York. I've helped buyers from Long Island and from Brooklyn all buy in Milford. They arrived on our first Zoom call and thought only Fairfield County was the answer. Every single one of them was glad they made the move to New Haven County. And then there's Branford. Median sales price $403,000 in 2025, a mill rate of 21.4. It's right on I-95. It's within easy reach of New Haven Metro for city access, and 27 days on market. Branford is a legitimate coastal New England town with real character, real community, and a tax rate that is genuinely lower than anything else around. When you put Branford next to Stratford, side by side, same distance to New York, same commute, similar geography, then I show the mill rate comparison. The question I always get is the same one. Why didn't anybody else tell me about this town before? I never have a great answer for that one. I just show you the numbers. Now, before I keep going, I want to say something directly to whoever's watching this. If you're genuinely planning on moving from somewhere outside of Connecticut to Connecticut, the smartest thing you could do before you start driving to open houses on the weekend is hop on a phone call or a Zoom call with my team at Dave Jones Realty First. We do free relocation planning calls specifically for buyers in your exact situation. We go through your budget, your commute reality, your lifestyle priorities, and we build a real game plan for where you should be actually focusing your search. It'll only take about 15 to 20 minutes, and I promise it will save you months of spinning your wheels looking for the wrong town. The link is in the description. Come talk to us. No pressure. Back to the 3 directions. Direction 2, you are remote or semi-remote, and the whole point is space. This is the profile I see the most. And honestly, this is where Connecticut really truly shines for New York buyers, or any out-of-state buyer for that matter. You've been in the city, maybe you're from Brooklyn, Queens, heck, you could be from Chicago. You've been working from home a while, and now the move you're making is actually about getting out and being able to breathe. You want a yard, you want a garage, you want a driveway, you want trees as neighbors, not neighbors as neighbors. You want to not hear your neighbor having the conversation through the wall in your apartment. If that sounds familiar, keep listening, because this is where the numbers get genuinely exciting. When I take the commute requirement off the table entirely, the options for $400,000 to $600,000 budget go from limited to almost overwhelming in a good way. This is where New Haven County inland becomes the entire conversation. Shelton. I talk about Shelton constantly because buyers from New York are still fixated on Fairfield County, consistently overlook it, and they regret it. The median sales price in 2025 was $545,000, 409 closed sales, 26 days on market, one of the most active liquid markets in the county. You can buy today and sell with confidence in 5 or 10 years because the demand is real and it's not going away. The mill rate in Shelton is 18.82. We're going to come back to what that actually means, that 18.82 for your monthly payment, in a few minutes, but I want you to hold on to that. Oxford is the other town I push hard for the remote buyer who wants to genuinely unplug. The median home price is $589,000 and the mill rate is just over 20. You are on real land out there, 2 and 3 acre parcels, farm properties, horse properties, beautiful stone walls, great quiet retreats. I've had buyers from Williamsburg and the Upper West Side come out to Oxford for the first time and just stand in the driveway of a property and go completely quiet. Not disappointed, just recalibrating, because they're realizing this is actually available to them for a price in Connecticut, and nobody ever told them it existed. Seymour, the median price is $415,000. That's up from $343,000 just 2 years ago. The mill rate is 27.72. The Naugatuck Valley with hills and the river and the stone walls, and it has that look and feel that New Yorkers always say they're looking for when they say they want something that feels different. It's real Connecticut. It's accessible. And for the remote buyer, that combination is hard to beat. Now, I want you to hear this because it is the consistent truth across every New York relocation I've been a part of. Every buyer I have worked with coming from New York said the same thing at some point during the process. They expected to compromise. They thought coming to Connecticut meant accepting a little more yard and a little lower price in exchange for giving something up somewhere else. What actually happened every time, without exception, is they got way more than they expected. Not a little more, way more. They walked into a house in Shelton, Oxford, Seymour, Prospect, with a number in their head about what the budget buys, and they completely recalibrated on the spot. That moment is why I do this. Because that's the part where it stops feeling like they left New York and it starts feeling like the best decision they've ever made. Direction 3, you're not sure yet, and you still need some framework to even start thinking about this. This is genuinely one of the most common calls I get. The buyer knows that they want out of New York. Connecticut is somewhere on the list. They're not locked in. Maybe it's Pennsylvania, maybe it's Massachusetts. They don't know the commute situation. They don't know which part of the state makes sense. They just know their current situation stopped working, and they've been watching YouTube videos at midnight trying to figure out what to do next. This is a completely normal place to be, and there's no shame in it. That's literally why I make these videos. For this buyer, here's the framework I walk through on every call. 2 questions. 1, what does your commute look like realistically? What's it going to look like 12 months from now? Not your ideal answer, your honest answer. Because I've had buyers tell me they're going fully remote, and in 6 months, they're still going back to the office 2 or 3 days a week. If there's any real chance you're commuting regularly, you need Metro North or 95 access, and it has to be manageable. That keeps you in Fairfield County or coastal New Haven County. Milford, Branford, that whole stretch. And number 2, what is your actual full monthly cost of your target purchase with real numbers? The tax being computed, your homeowner's insurance being computed. The mortgage plus the taxes plus insurance. Not just the mortgage, not just the home purchase price. Because this is where the Fairfield County conversation quietly collapses for a lot of buyers in the $400,000 to $600,000 range. The houses exist at that price in certain towns, but the mill rate adds hundreds of dollars every month, and the buyers aren't planning for it. Stratford at 40.2 mils and Bridgeport at 43.45. Those numbers change the monthly reality in a meaningful way. When you run that full number honestly, New Haven County inland makes a different kind of sense. More house, more land, lower mill rates, and you're still only an hour to an hour and a half from the city on a normal day. For a lot of New York buyers who have been doing the commute their whole lives, trading the train for a car ride once or twice a week is a trade-off they will take all day long when they see what it unlocks on the other side. I'm not telling you Fairfield County is the wrong answer without knowing your situation. For some buyers, it is the correct answer, and I will be the first one to say so. If you've been defaulting to Fairfield County just because it's what New Yorkers do, because your coworker did it, because your family did it, because it's the name you recognize, I want you to run the real numbers on what's available one county over before you commit to anything. That's all I'm asking. So the number I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, the one that makes New York buyers stop and ask me to repeat it, it is Shelton's mill rate. 18.82. Here is what that number actually means in real money. Take a $500,000 home and compare it at Shelton's 18.82 mils compared to Stratford's 40.2. Both are New Haven County towns. Both have commute access to New York. The annual property tax difference on the purchase price is over $10,000 a year, every year, for as long as you own the house. That's the number that makes people ask me to say it again, because they're sitting there doing the math. 10 years of ownership, $100,000. They realize this is not a small detail. It's almost $1,000 a month, every month. This is a life decision that compounds. Run it against Bridgeport at 43.45. Run it against Derby at 43.2. Run it against Hamden at 51.8. The gap only grows. That's why I tell New York buyers the same thing from the very first call. Don't look at the listing price. Run the full monthly number. Mortgage, tax, insurance, the total cost of ownership, that's the number that tells you where you should actually be living. When you run it honestly, Shelton, Oxford, Seymour, Prospect, Milford, Branford, they all show up as the smart answer for the buyer who wants more house, more land, a lower tax bill, and a financial picture that actually makes sense on the other side of the move. Remember, we're one of the most trusted relocation teams in all of Connecticut. Give us a call, give us a text, send us an email. We will help put together a plan specifically for you. If you want the full New Haven County breakdown, all 6 of my favorite towns with a complete mill rate comparison, everything side by side, I made that video. Click right here, right now, and I'll meet you over there.